Welcome back to Garage Business Adventures. I'm Doug, and today we are going to cover how to make your attic, like above your garage like we are here, into usable space for storing your Christmas stuff, things like that. So our last video we installed the attic ladder, so now that we have the attic ladder, we're going to move on and I'm going to cover topics, show you how we insulated, put some decking down, put some lights up, put some ventilation in to keep it a little bit cooler during the summer so things don't get damaged, and hopefully have a finished product that will allow for some great storage. Alright, so I'm up on the roof with Steven from Boise Skylight, and to keep our attic cool in the summer when it gets really hot, to make sure our stuff doesn't get damaged, he replaced one of our stationary roof vents with this. You want to tell us what this is, Steven?
So this is about a 1600 CFM or cubic feet per minute fan that is wired directly into an existing wire in the attic, and because of that, it's going to be powered whenever it's warm enough to be powered, whenever the thermostat triggers. Now, Doug first asked about a solar one, and the majority of the time the solar ones sound like the best option because they're free to operate, but they're not going to be operating when you really need them. They're only going to be operating for about 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the day, whereas the powered one is going to be operating the second that it gets warm enough to trigger, to even when the sun set, if it's still needing to be going on. And for Doug's particular attic space, a powered one is a no-brainer, and they're the same price generally installed.
Yeah, so as you've seen, a lot of the stuff I did DIY, but I think a big part of DIY is kind of knowing your limits of what you're comfortable with. And when it comes to my roof, I'd rather let somebody who knows what they're doing touch my roof. So he's done some other roofing projects, the skylight for me, and our patio roof. So I know he does good work. But this I think you said we're going to set it to 90 degrees.
Yep.
So when it gets to 90 degrees inside that attic space, this is going to kick on and help pull air from the soffit vents and the gable end vent, to pull air through that attic space, to cool it down, so that nothing that we put up there is going to get damaged. Side effect, it will also help keep our garage a little bit cooler in the summer, which is a nice bonus.
Definitely will.
Alright, so we've got our new vent in over here, our powered vent. We've got these lights, these nice lights put up. These are string lights from a hardware store. They're construction grade. And then I just drilled a hole through the drywall in the ceiling of my attic and ran it down next to the wall next to an outlet. So when you want to get in the attic, you can just plug it in. It'll be nice and lit, and you can get up here, get what you need, put stuff away, whatever you're going to do. I really don't like the feel of an attic, so I like the lighting. Obviously, there's other ways you could do that. You could just bring a flashlight if you wanted. But I like light, so that made me feel good about myself. So The ventilation is super important. That's going to keep it cooler up here in the summer so our stuff doesn't get damaged. And then what I did for decking so we had something to put it on. First off, I bought Roxol brand rock wool unfaced bat insulation. The 2x4 variety is an R15 value. And I just bought the stuff for 16 on center. Obviously an attic is 22.5. In between the joists is 24 on center. So I just cut them to length and put them in because they're too narrow to just set in. Which that worked fine. If you have the patience, that's sold by Blue Hardware Store. The orange one sells a competitive product that I don't like as well. So if you have the patience, you can order the 24 on center variety that'll just nicely fit in. And that's probably what I should have done, but I like to do things over a weekend and usually grab my materials last minute. And they carry the 16-inch on center in the store. At some stores, not all stores have it. So I like this stuff. I use it extensively in our other renovation of our house. And then I put down some plywood. And the way I selected my plywood is I found what was free from leftover projects. So they're pretty much any plywood that'll hold your weight will do for decking, and you just lay it across, and I screwed it down. And that gave us something nice to put our boxes on. Obviously, you know, the rest of my attic is not insulated. So, you know, you might be thinking, why'd you even bother with insulation? Well, the plan is to eventually do some blow-in on the areas we're not going to use to put stuff on. So hopefully we'll finish that off, and that'll help control when we insulate the walls in the garage. That'll help control the temperature of our garage better for doing more projects in the future. So insulation, sheeting, we did our attic ladder in our last video, lighting, and a fan to control the temperature. And that about wraps this project up. I just had a couple notes. Somebody had some questions about our attic ladder install, and I just wanted to point this out, if I can. This attic ladder has these brackets right here, and that's what we're putting our screws through, is these steel brackets. And you can see the ladder's hanging. There's an upper one you can't see, but some of the others in the middle go right through the wood, but it's not just hanging from the wood, it's hanging from these steel brackets. That's what we put our big old lag screws through. Wasn't sure that we were clear about that in the last video, so just wanted to point it out. Had one other question. I'm going to go back down and address that real quick. Okay, so the other question I got was on cutting the bottom of this attic ladder. Obviously, when you first buy it, this ladder is full length, so this leg is long, so you have to fold it up to do the measuring. And how I measured that is I took a level. You take really anything straight and you place it on your forward leg, and then you measure from the ground to the bottom of that hinge. And that's your first measurement. And then if you have somebody else, it helps, but you measure along the back of the leg as well. And then once you have those two measurements, you come on this leg that's folded up, and your back measurement is going to be the front measurement here, because once it flips under, that's going to be the back. And you mark it, and then you mark your front measurement on the back here, and that's going to be an angled cut. One way to tell if you're doing that right is if the angle of this is the same as the angle of one of your steps, your angle is right. If it's different, you might want to remeasure, because you want your steps to be level, so this angle should be the same as one of your step angles. So if you look at that and say, it's different, then do your measurements again. And then once you have cut it, I just cut these with a handsaw in the last video. It should fold under like that and sit nice and flat on the ground. Hope this helps you make your attic more useful, your attic space more useful. In a lot of these 80s and 90s homes, that attic space is just wasted. And some of them are smaller, like mine is pretty small. So we don't have a place to put that Christmas stuff and maybe some boxes or things that you don't want to get rid of, but you don't want to pay for storage either. And I didn't want them cluttering my garage, so they're up above in a pretty nice space now, and we've covered access, lighting, and ventilation. So that's about it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Hit the like button, drop a comment, let us know what you'd like to see in future videos, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're going to have lots of great content on Volkswagen stuff, automotive, woodworking, and DIY. So drop us a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Doug. This was Garage Misadventures.